Shiny hunting in Hyperspace Wild Zones in the Mega Dimension DLC for Pokemon Legends ZA is extremely broken. I've been shiny hunting on stream as well as testing shiny hunting on my own, and the results will shock you. I'm going to show you how you can get any shiny Pokemon you want. So lock in, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications, and let's get into it. Now, let me teach you about a very important concept that you're going to be using when doing shiny hunting in the DLC, known as a backup save. A backup save is created when you go to a Pokemon Center and kill your Pokemon there. When you do that and you start your game, you hold the D-pad up while pressing X and B, and you'll get a screen that says, do you want to load up your save? And then you're going to say yes, and it's going to load up exactly where you were at the last Pokemon Center. That's how you create a backup save. The reason why that is so important is because hard saves are going to get you completely wrecked because the game does its own auto-saving. For example, we're going to be doing an important concept known as making donuts. Whenever you create a donut in the game, as soon as it's made, the game will auto-save. So if you messed up and made the wrong donut, well, then you're out of luck because the game just auto-saved it. However, if you did mess up on the donut and go back to the backup save feature, you're good and then can remake a donut from scratch again. The same backup save is going to play a big part when we enter Hyperspace Dimensions, so if you walk inside of it and for some reason you're like, I don't want to be here, and you wasted your donut in it, well, then you could just go ahead, close out your game, open it up, do the same thing with the D-pad up while pressing X and B, and that'll bring you back to the Pokemon Center where you haven't even used any of your donuts at all to enter the hyperspace. It's a pretty cool trick, and we'll be utilizing that more later. Now that you know how to create a backup save, here's going to be a numerical order on the screen that you can take a screenshot of what you need to do before heading into the donuts. And now I'll walk you through it. So once you make your backup save at the Pokemon Center, you're then going to fast travel to Hotel Z, and then we're going to go talk to Ansha where we will make the donuts. If you create the donut you want, you're then going to stop at this step. If you don't create a good donut, you're then going to close your game, open your game, press the D-pad up, X and B at the same time to load up the backup save, and then you're just going to repeat fast traveling to Hotel Z again. Now, when you talk to Ansha and you decide you want to make a donut, you'll notice that there are 5 flavor profiles: spicy, sour, fresh, bitter, and sweet. Now, because this is a shiny hunting video, the important ones that I will be focusing on specifically are going to be the sweet profile, the sour profile, and the fresh profile. The sweet profile is going to give you access to sparkling type, Teensy, which are really tiny Pokemon and hard to get, Humongo, which are the really large Pokemon, as well as alpha Pokemon. And so if you're someone who likes to hunt down alphas and get them shiny, well, this is going to be a very good profile for you. Now, the sour profile is going to be really important because the sour one is going to be good for grabbing specific items. Specifically, I'll show you the ones that get you a ton of berries in the game, but just know it's for treasure and increasing your items that you find within the Hyperspace Wild Zones. And then freshness is going to be for the catching type as well as the encounter type of your Pokemon. All 3 of these are the ones we're going to be focusing on. Now, when it comes to the sour profile, one of the 2 important ones that you should probably get when you're rolling is going to be item power for berries as well as the big haul power. Now, one of the most important berries that you can get from Hyperspace Wild Zones level 4 is going to be the Hyper Kasib berry. This one is going to have a 95 in the sour profile, which is very high. Now, what you want to do specifically is place down as many as you can. This will increase the sour profile all the way up and will give you a chance at getting specifically item power berries level 3, which will make you a lot more likely to find berries when you break Pokeballs within the Hyperspace Wild Zone, and Big Haul Power level 3, which will allow you to get more items than usual, which is really nice. Level 2 gives you about 6 items per run. At level 3, you'll get a ton of berries with each Pokeball giving you about 7 to 8 berries per hit. When you combo berries and when you combo Big Haul Power, you end up with an amazing combo, which is going to give you the proper berries that you'll need to do your shiny hunting. If for some reason you were slacking on berries. If not, let's move on to the next part. Now, when it comes to the sweet berries, you can get Sparkling Power 3 all the way earlier on when you start getting your Hyperspace berries, right from using the Hyper Oka berry. This is a pretty early Hyperspace berry that is pretty powerful and can get you exactly what you need when it comes to sweetness. However, if you're much later on in the game like me, I suggest you use berries like the Hyper Tanga berry, and if you really want to get fun with it, you could use the Hyper Haban berry, which does sweet and fresh. But personally, I do prefer the Hyper Tanga berry because I'm usually always going to get sweet attributes, and sometimes having the Hyper Haban berry has has the fresh so high, you might end up getting more fresh flavor profile attributes than the sweet ones, which is not good. But eventually with all of these, if you keep re-rolling, you do end up with Sparkling Power level 3, which is very, very good for shiny hunting. Now, once you have your Sparkling Power donut, whether it be the best one, which is basically having Sparkling Power for all types, and in my specific case, I have a Dragon Sparkling Power level 3, as well as a Psychic Power level 3. My Dragon one, I got Teensy Power with it, which is going to make little tiny dragons, while my Psychic one allows me to get a chance of having alphas with it. It's pretty cool. Now, with your donuts, you're going to open up your map and start looking for hyperspace wild zones that contain the specific element of what you have. However, before we even do this, what you want to do as soon as you discover the hyperspace that you want to enter is you're going to go to a Pokemon Center and heal your Pokemon to create a backup save again. That way, if you walk inside of that hyperspace and you just don't like it or something about it is off to you, you can just close your game, come back out, and reload the backup save by hitting the up D-pad XB at the same time. Now let's enter a hyperspace wild zone. Here's a few things that is really interesting. Whenever you have a Sparkling level 3 that is attached to the typing that you've entered, you'll notice on the top right of my screen that it says catch a shiny Pokemon. This has pretty much worked out in every single hyperspace wild zone that I've walked into when I had a Sparkling level 3, and you can let me know in the comments whether it shows up for you when you match your typing. When you walk in, you're going to spot a shiny Pokemon. I first tried to walk into the zone and catch a shiny Cyclizar because I don't have a shiny Cyclizar. However, on the left of my screen were shiny Bagons. So what I did was I said, hey, I want to see if I could shift over the spawn. So all I did was once I saw the Bagon is I closed my game, reloaded at the Pokemon Center with the backup save, came back, and then all of a sudden I was able to have that Bagon become a Shelgon, which is interesting. And I did this a couple of times over and over again. However, that little pool of Pokemon was not shifting into a completely different species. After this, I went to another dragon type hyperspace wild zone, and I was able to start changing around some of the spawns that showed up, which is a really interesting thing that you should know. When you're guaranteed a shiny Pokemon from the quest, you can actually change that Pokemon by doing the backup Pokemon save, which lets you shiny hunt pretty much any Pokemon you want. How far does this actually go? Well, I also found another hyperspace wild zone, but this one was a 3 type. It had bug, it had dragon, and it had steel type. Then my dragon typing sparkling effect actually shifted on to Pokemon like Lyron, and we know Lyron's not a dragon type. So depending on what hyperspace wild zone you're in, and if you have a specific typing and it shares a dual typing with another Pokemon species, you could then do the backup home trick to also get a different typing, which is really cool because you're not even focused on that typing, and the game just allows you to do that by using that trick. Now let's talk about all the ways that you can shiny hunt when you are in a hyperspace wild zone. This part can be done whether you have the donut for it or if you don't have the donut for it. Let's start with the first one, which is going to be the fast travel method. It is really simple and it's just like the base game. Once you're in a hyperspace dimension, all you have to do is just hit the plus button and the game's automatically going to default you to the fast travel point at the start. You can't move around your controller, you just hit plus, then A, confirm, and there you go. You have now reset the entire spawns of the area, and you can keep spamming this over and over again to see Pokemon that are within your range. Now, here's a quick pro tip. If the Pokemon you're specifically hunting are in front of you and you're within 50 meters, and you are not trying to hunt that specific one, but trying to go for another group within the area, well, guess what? You can actually go ahead and do the backup save technique that we talked about to come back into the zone, and believe it or not, by doing the backup save technique and entering the exact same hyperspace wild zone, you then can turn around and shift the spawns in the area, which is really cool. So even though all the Pokemon are the same, the hyperspace wild zone is the same, the Pokemon can shift locations within the zone. Unfortunately, when I was live streaming on Twitch, I made a huge mistake when it came to shiny hunting Phoebus, and what I did was a horrible technique, but it is a technique called the run and reset method, where I ran all the way towards the Phoebus spawn area, and then I would fast travel all the way back and redo it over and over again. And as I was doing that, my donut calories were counting down, which is basically the timer, and I said this for fun in the clip.
I'm so scared to have a fail on stream. That is my most terrifying fear. We're at 10 and then we walk out there and there's a shiny and then it's like, oh, you're done. What a waste then.
I'm so scared to have a fail on stream.
Time! What the
So even though the run and reset method is definitely something that you can do, it's not very efficient as it's going to burn the calorie timer, as opposed to when you're doing the fast travel method spam, it's just going to lower the calorie count by a very little amounts and increments, so you should be fine. And I wish I did that. So fast travel spam is going to be the #1 method when going into every single hyperspace wild zone.
No, not dive ball.
Now, the next method that you could do within Wild Zone is the teleport method. The last time we could do teleport method was in Lysander Lab, but there are little teleporters that fly you across the map in this game depending on which Wild Zone you're in. Now, teleporters are really cool because they'll keep you in the range initially of the Pokemon, and then they'll travel you sometimes so far away that you are despawning every single group of that Pokemon, and then you can respawn and come back and do that over and over again until you come across that specific Pokemon that you are hunting. This is a great option if you're a little bit too lazy to do a backup save and you find a teleporter and the specific spawn of Pokemon is going to be right by that teleport. This method is also going to be really efficient because it's only going to burn calories until you arrive at the teleporter, but once you find the correct teleporter that you need to use, your calorie count is going to be burning extremely slow as you are pretty much just teleporting, and it doesn't take much calories to do that at all. Now, this method is pretty interesting and it doesn't require you to do a whole entire backup save as well. This one is going to be the respawn and reset method. Now, in order to do this, you're going to want to target the specific Pokemon you want to hunt. You want to make sure that this Pokemon spawns in a large enough group, maybe 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 of its own spawns that are there in one time. What you're going to do is go up to those Pokemon with an AoE attack, and once you take them all out, you're then going to start a specific timer. I've noticed most Pokemon in the Hyper Dimension are going to be about 3 minutes. So once that timer goes all the way up, you want to save right before the 3 minutes kicks in, which is going to lock in the Pokemon right before they spawn. They're then going to respawn back in. You're going to look if they're shiny, and then you're going to close your game, reopen it up, and then you should see in front of you completely new spawns, and hopefully you'll get that shiny, and you're going to do this over and over again. This is another technique that you can run. It's not the most efficient, but it is a shiny hunting method, and sometimes people just want to change things up when they are hunting within a hyperspace wild zone. It gets boring to do the fast travel all the time. If you enjoyed this video, you should definitely hop on stream for shiny hunting, or you can just check out this video right over here on your screen.